I don't remember where I first heard about this. It may have been on YouTube or possibly Instagram. I do remember Mike Rashid, who had a fight or was training for a fight and he had one, and somebody tagged KSI, said fight KSI, and I saw KSI's name around a few times. Somehow I came across this KSI fight video and it was against Paul Weller, which is right here. And if you look here, it has over 17 million views from February. Pretty crazy, and when you watch this fight, if you just fast forward in this video, you can see that it's a pretty legit fight at the Copper Box Arena. And I'm guessing by the looks of it, because I've watched the video, there's tons of cameras. The commentators are pretty into it. I'm guessing that it was probably sold out. So pretty legit for an amateur YouTuber throwing a fight. So I watched this fight. Obviously, it wasn't a professional level fight or anything like that, but for two YouTubers calling each other out, they put on a pretty legit fight. And now apparently KSI is fighting Logan Paul, who's a pretty well-known name. He's made the news for some incidents with his YouTube channel and all that. Regardless, it looks like this could line up to be one of the biggest, if not the biggest, fights of 2018. To do a comparison, if you type in Floyd Mayweather in YouTube, and then you go to the filter and you search by view count, and go to look for his top fight, most viewed fight, the most viewed fight is versus Conor McGregor, 13 million views. The next one, let's see, I just scrolled down a little ways, and the next most viewed Floyd Mayweather fight is versus Shane Mosley with 4.9 million views. And in between here and the top of the most viewed videos, I actually came across one with KSI, and there's a few more with Conor McGregor. So that basically shows you the popularity from the entertainment aspect of the type of fight that the masses are watching. And of all the fights that happened last year, probably the one that is the biggest household name would be the Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather fight. Boxing fans would probably say Canelo versus Triple G was the biggest boxing fight. But going off of YouTube views, the biggest Floyd Mayweather fight is the one against Conor McGregor. And this KSI versus Joe Weller has more views than that. And I don't know Joe Weller. I don't follow lots of YouTubers, but I have actually heard of Logan Paul. If you go to Logan Paul's page, he has 17.5 million subscribers. KSI has 18.6 million. So just by the sets of eyes that will be in front of this, it's probably, so going by YouTube views, I would say that this one is going to be massive. It's actually pretty interesting because if you can imagine what someone would do with unlimited resources to train for boxing, these guys are both obviously millionaires from having millions of subscribers. And just from the top of KSI's page here, you can see that he's actually got a bit about boxing. Chris Eubank Jr. If you go down a little further, he has a video here training with Floyd Mayweather Sr. And then also he went over and trained MMA with Mike Bisping, which is interesting. Then when you have a look on his Instagram, he trained with Anthony Yard, who's a light heavyweight beast coming up. Really hard puncher, good fighter. I love watching him. And then after that, he's over at the UFC Performance Institute, and he recently did a video on how hard he can punch. So not only is the stage set for a pretty big fight, because Logan Paul, of course, has got his own side of his subscribers and his fame and all that stuff. But on top of that, KSI is definitely thinking of the future. I don't know what they have going on over at the UFC. I think it's a smart move on his part, and I think the UFC sees the bigness of this already and is wanting to get involved with it somehow. I know that they talked about promoting boxing, so maybe they have something that they're picturing for the future past this Logan Paul KSI fight. But just the fact that he is over at the UFC is definitely an indication of, I think, the UFC seeing potential here, which indicates the bigness of this fight coming up in August. And he's doing it right, in my opinion. He's going and training with good fighters around the world. He already had his fight, so he's been there. He's got a little bit of ring experience. Obviously, they're just amateurs. Anyone that's a serious boxing fan is probably offended by the whole thing. But as far as how big a fight is, meaning how many people are watching it and are going to hear about it and all that stuff, this is the type of fight I think that people that are not even boxing fans will probably tune into just to watch it. And I think it could potentially be the biggest fight of the year. The one other one that I would say could be bigger would be if Floyd Mayweather actually went into the octagon and fought MMA against Conor, which seems like it's up in the air. I don't know what's going on with that. I've been following it a little bit. Floyd sounded recently like he's not even going to do that. But even so, if you look at the YouTube views, you can see that this other KSI one against Paul Weller was already more viewed than the Conor Floyd one. On the other side of it, on the Logan Paul side, if you look at his page, he doesn't have lots of boxing stuff. It's more, I'm guessing, what he usually does, just typical vlogs. He does have a little bit of KSI here. The one thing that I have seen him do is train over at the 10 Goose Boxing Gym with Ricky Funes, and they haven't really revealed a whole lot of that. Whereas KSI, he's actually shown some sparring, like right here against Face Sensei. And this actually, I thought, was a pretty interesting video. I haven't been into boxing for too long, but I do like it. I'm pretty passionate about it. I've been training a couple days a week, and he gave some pretty interesting commentary, I thought, just as he was sparring KSI, giving some feedback about KSI, what he was doing, and just kind of breaking it all down, which I thought was good. But as far as Logan Paul, I don't know what he's doing. I assume he's training pretty hard and taking it seriously. And then on top of that, Logan Paul's brother, Jake Paul, is apparently going to fight KSI's brother on the undercard. If you go to his page, you scroll down here, it says, "Am I boxing KSI's little brother, Deji?" And so that just adds to it. Jake Paul has another 15 million subscribers, so just between the three of them alone, and then I think Deji has like 8 million. They're gonna be bringing a big crowd to this, and then with all the promotional stuff they do, I think it's just gonna possibly be the biggest event of 2018.